And our final main topic today gets submitted to us by Clark Washington, who writes, the news came out that Frozen 2 has sold more tickets in 24 hours than any prior animated movie, according to Fandango and Atom Tickets. Do these early numbers indicate Frozen 2 is going to break the opening weekend record, not only for an animated movie, but a November release as well? All right, thanks a lot for sending in that question. And yes, to much fanfare, the Frozen 2 tickets went on sale. Now, this movie's going to be big. The first one, obviously, was, I believe, the first animated film to join the $1 billion club, I believe. It was a marvelous success. And now whenever Ann and I, you want to see what kind of fingerprints it keeps in the pop cultural consciousness? Whenever Ann and I go to Disneyland or something, Ann, who oversees a lot of the Frozen Disney princess stuff at Hasbro, whenever she's got this funny joke, she goes, we walk around, when she sees a little girl dressed as Elsa and, what's the other one?
Anna
and Elsa. And she's like, cha-ching.
Cha-ching.
And then you see everywhere you see little girls. It's been years since Frozen was out. Little girls everywhere continue to dress like Anna and Elsa. They love this thing. And guess what? It's a nice little movie. That first Frozen is a nice little movie. And the previews they have shown us, particularly at D23, for this new Frozen, look really good. Look very, very good. This is going to be big. Now, just to put this a little bit in context, right now, that means the opening 24-hour ticket sales records all-time charts now stands at this. Number one is Frozen. They just set the new record. Before that, it was Toy Story 4. The Incredibles is the third biggest 24 hours animated ticket sales. Then there was Finding Dory, and then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, there's something very important here that we need to point out whenever we talk about advanced sales tickets, whether it's the first 24 hours, whether it's the first, month, or whether it's overall. And that thing we've always got to come back to is this. It doesn't actually mean much. And the reason it doesn't actually mean much, at least not yet, it will, in about two to 3 years, it really will matter. But right now, it still doesn't matter. Why doesn't it matter all that much right now? Because right now, we are still living in a period of exponential transition of people going to the box office to buy their tickets and now utilizing their phones and everything and the internet to get online and buy their tickets in advance. Far more people today use the internet, either through apps or web browser, to buy their tickets online in advance than they did 4 months ago. Exponentially more. We are in a massive period of transition where now everybody's starting to buy it. And as long as those numbers keep growing, that means it's not an apples to apples comparison when new advanced tickets. So we talked about that when the Star Wars tickets went on sale, right? Like their first hour, Atom Tickets reported, first hour outsells the first hour of Endgame. Okay, that's great. But way more people are buying their tickets online today now than they did when Endgame first came out, even though that was just a number of months ago. So it's still significant. I mean, it still means something. It just means they're selling a lot of tickets, and that's great. And maybe in about 2 years, we can start talking more seriously about these advanced ticket sales records once we've gotten out of that period of exponential growth and it starts to level out. It's like, okay, now basically everybody uses online to buy their tickets in advance. Then these records will mean more. But still, it's still a nice feather in your cap. I mean, again, you look at this list, that's great. Like, Frozen 2 sold more tickets in the first 24 hours than Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 went on to be a $1 billion film. That's a good thing. But I don't know that it tells us anything going to the question that this then means it will break the opening weekend animated record. It very well might, but I don't think this statistic it tells us one way or the other, to be honest with you. So anyway, that's just the way I see it. Aaron, you heard about this record. Is there a lot of significance to this? And could it be like the number one opening weekend for animated films? What do you think?
Well, I think it's similar. I mean, it's a great marketing campaign. No different than, oh my gosh, this album, broke all of these records or got platinum or something like that. It makes you go, oh, well, what am I missing out on? If I know that my kids like Frozen, or I'm a big Frozen fan, or, if I know that Tom really wants to go to see Frozen 2 on opening weekend, and I see this, all of a sudden I go, oh my gosh, it's like fire sale. We got to move now. now, act fast. It makes me realize, oh my goodness, these tickets are really going. So it motivates me to go and buy my advance ticket as well. But I really love what you talked about with you and Anne seeing all the little girls dressed as the Frozen characters, because it points to the representation and of little girls seeing versions of themselves on the screen and really getting into cosplay, getting into the characters, getting into the fascination of the film industry, and pushing their parents to not only take them to see the movies, but to also buy all the merchandise.
Yeah.
So we have an entire generation of little girls who are growing up going, oh my gosh, I want everything that has to do with Frozen. So I do think that this is not an individual indication, but I think that combined with the fact that you can't throw a rock in a Walmart or a Target without seeing Frozen dolls and paraphernalia and merch everywhere, or going, like you said, to Disneyland and seeing little girls dressed like Elsa and Anna, I think that we're going to see some big numbers from opening weekend, and I think that this is not necessarily, as you said, the indication, but it's definitely helping with the marketing.
What do you think about this, Chris?
Oh, I agree with you guys. I feel like, especially with how many movie theaters now have assigned seating, it's so much more common for you to buy your tickets in advance, even if it's not a big opening weekend. A lot of times you just jump on the phone and plan out your weekend. I do think it's obviously going to sweep at the box office, though. Frozen's been out for a minute, y'all, and people still have Frozen fever. Kids are singing it all the time. When I used to be a nanny, oh my gosh, it's all you could do was play Frozen on a loop and just hope those kids would be sedated. But I think this is going to do really, really well. I think it's probably going to sweep in the box office in general because kids and adults really like this one. I do still think that Tangled is a better movie. I think Tangled should have gotten more love.
I like Tangled a lot.
Tangled's fun.
I always thought that was the better one, but Frozen is the one that really jived with all the kids. So, Frozen 2, let's do it. And this trailer looks badass, by the way,
the
too.
trailers have been
trailer's
great.
incredible.
The trailers have been
so
great.
heckin' cool.
And we'll just see how this thing goes. It's going to be huge. It may break all the records again.
Wait.
I just don't think it's going to be because it set this opening day record.
Am I the only person that really feels like I had like my childhood was deprived because I didn't have Chris Carr as my nanny?
Aww.
I didn't know you were a nanny, and now I'm like, oh my gosh. I
did good. I taught at children's acting school. I'm really great with kids. It's mostly because I get to be like, here you go back to mom.
I feel like
No
there's a
doubt.
spin-off to Mary Poppins in here somewhere. I feel like that's in the works here. Guys, question is, what do you think about this opening weekend record? How significant do you think it is or not significant? And how do you think it's going to actually do on its opening weekend compared to all the other animated films in history? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.